The afternoon sun cast long shadows through the windows of Henderson Fine Jewelry as Margaret adjusted her pearl necklace and smoothed her red blazer. She had worked at this upscale establishment for nearly 15 years and prided herself on knowing exactly which customers belonged among the sparkling displays of diamonds and precious stones. Dorothy stood beside her, wearing her signature purple suit that had seen better days but was always impeccably pressed. She had been Margaret's colleague for just as long and shared the same discerning eye for clientele. Behind them, Eleanor in her teal jacket nodded approvingly as they watched the familiar rhythm of their workplace unfold. The three women had developed an unspoken understanding over the years about who deserved their immediate attention and who might simply be browsing beyond their means. It was a skill they believed served both the store and its serious customers well. That Thursday afternoon started like any other until the front door chimed and a young man stepped inside. He couldn't have been more than 20, with gentle brown eyes and skin that spoke of long hours in the sun. His yellow plaid shirt was clean but clearly well worn, and his jeans had the soft fade that comes from countless washes. Everything about his appearance suggested he had wandered into the wrong establishment. The young man's name was Samuel, though the three women behind the counter had no way of knowing this. What they saw was someone who looked thoroughly out of place among the gleaming cases of engagement rings and anniversary gifts. His shoes were practical work boots, and his hands showed the calluses of honest labor. Margaret exchanged a knowing glance with Dorothy, who raised an eyebrow in Eleanor's direction. Without words, they communicated their shared assessment of the situation. This young man was clearly lost, or perhaps had mistaken their high-end jewelry store for something more within his price. Strange. Samuel approached the main display case where wedding rings sparkled under carefully positioned lighting. His expression was earnest as he leaned forward to examine the pieces more closely. There was something tender in the way he looked at each ring, as if he could imagine it bringing joy to someone special. The three saleswomen watched from their positions, feeling a mixture of amusement and mild irritation. They had seen this before: young men with more heart than budget, wandering into spaces where dreams required substantial financial backing. While they weren't unkind by nature, they had learned to protect both their time and their commission-based income. Margaret cleared her throat softly and approached Samuel with the practiced smile she reserved for such situations. Her voice carried just enough professional distance to convey the message without being outright rude. "Can I help you find something specific today?" she asked in a tone that suggested he might be better served elsewhere. "Perhaps you're looking for directions to another store in the area?" Samuel looked up with those same gentle eyes, completely missing the subtle dismissal in her words. His smile was genuine and warm, as if he truly believed he belonged exactly where he was standing. "Actually, I was hoping to look at engagement rings," he said with quiet confidence. "Something beautiful but not too flashy. She doesn't like things that draw too much attention." Dorothy stepped closer, unable to hide a small smile that bordered on condescending. She had heard similar requests before, usually followed by shock at the prices and a quick retreat toward the door. "I see," she replied with practiced patience. "And what kind of budget are you working with?" "Our engagement rings start at around $8,000 and go up from there." She delivered this information expecting to see Samuel's face fall or perhaps witness him fumble for an excuse to leave gracefully. Instead, he nodded thoughtfully, as if the figure was exactly what he had expected to hear. "That sounds reasonable," he said simply. "Could you show me some options in the $10,000 to $15,000 range? I want to make sure I find something really special." The three women exchanged another series of glances, this time tinged with disbelief. Eleanor joined them at the counter, clearly curious about how this interaction would unfold. None of them had expected the young man to respond with such casual acceptance of their pricing. Margaret felt a flicker of uncertainty, but maintained her professional demeanor. She had been wrong about customers before, though it happened rarely enough that each instance stuck in her memory. Still, his appearance and demeanor seemed so at odds with the budget he claimed to have. "Of course," she replied, though her tone remained cautious. "Let me show you a few pieces that might interest you." As Margaret unlocked the display case, Samuel's attention was caught by something else entirely. Mr. Patterson had emerged from the back office where he had been reviewing quarterly reports and planning inventory orders. He was a distinguished man in his 70s with silver hair and kind eyes that crinkled at the corners from decades of genuine smiles. Samuel's entire demeanor changed when he spotted the older gentleman. His face lit up with pure joy and he called out across the store with unguarded affection, "Dad, I didn't expect to see you here today." The words hit the three saleswomen like a physical force. Margaret's hand froze halfway to the jewelry case while Dorothy's mouth fell open in surprise. Eleanor felt her cheeks flush with the sudden realization of what they had just witnessed. Mr. Patterson's face broke into a wide grin as he made his way across the store toward his son. There was no mistaking the pride and love in his expression as he embraced Samuel warmly. "Samuel, my boy, I thought you were still working at the construction site today. What brings you by?" "I finally worked up the courage to start ring shopping for Jennifer," Samuel replied with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "I've been saving for 2 years and I think I'm ready to take the next step." The older man's eyes grew misty with emotion as he clasped his son's shoulder. This was clearly a moment he had been hoping for and anticipating. His voice carried the weight of paternal pride when he spoke. "That's wonderful news, son. Jennifer is a lovely girl and she's going to make a beautiful bride. Have these lovely ladies been taking good care of you?" The question hung in the air like morning mist slowly settling over a lake. Margaret, Dorothy, and Eleanor stood frozen in a moment of perfect uncomfortable clarity about their behavior. They had not been taking good care of Samuel at all. They had been preparing to dismiss him based solely on assumptions about his appearance and background. Margaret found her voice first, though it came out smaller and less confident than usual. "We were just getting started, Mr. Patterson. Samuel mentioned he was interested in something in the 10 to 15,000 range." Mr. Patterson nodded approvingly. "That sounds about right for what he saved. Samuel has been working 2 jobs for the past couple of years to put money aside for this moment. Construction during the day and weekend shifts at the loading dock. He's one of the hardest working young men I know." The pride in the father's voice was unmistakable, and it painted Samuel's earlier confidence in an entirely new light. This wasn't a young man overestimating his budget or putting on airs beyond his station. This was someone who had earned every dollar through dedication and sacrifice for love. Eleanor stepped forward, feeling compelled to make amends for their earlier assumptions. "Samuel, please forgive us. We should have given you our complete attention from the moment you walked in. Let me personally help you find the perfect ring for Jennifer." Samuel looked genuinely puzzled by the apology. In his mind, nothing had gone wrong and no offense had been taken. His focus had been entirely on the important task at hand, and he seemed oblivious to the subtle slights that had occurred. "That's very kind of you," he replied with the same gentle smile he had worn since entering the store. "I really do want to find something special. Jennifer works at the elementary school teaching 2nd grade, and she has the most beautiful way of making every child feel valued and important. She deserves something that reflects how amazing she is." The way Samuel spoke about his girlfriend revealed the depth of his character and the sincerity of his intentions. This wasn't about impressing anyone or making a statement. This was about honoring someone he loved with a symbol worthy of their relationship. Mr. Patterson watched the interaction with quiet satisfaction. He had built his business on the belief that love stories came in all forms, and that every genuine expression of commitment deserved to be celebrated and supported. Seeing his son embark on this journey filled him with the kind of joy that money could never purchase. Over the next hour, the atmosphere in the store transformed completely. What had begun as an uncomfortable encounter based on misplaced assumptions became a genuine celebration of love and commitment. Margaret, Dorothy, and Eleanor found themselves caught up in Samuel's enthusiasm as he carefully considered each ring option. He asked thoughtful questions about the different stones and settings. He wanted to know about durability because Jennifer was always working with her hands in the classroom. He inquired about ethical sourcing because she cared deeply about making choices that aligned with their values. Every question revealed more about both Samuel and the woman he hoped to marry. Dorothy found herself sharing stories about other couples she had helped over the years and the different ways they had proposed. Eleanor offered insights about which styles remained timeless and which might feel dated in years.